What is happening, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Here's some helpful tips on how to read God's Word. So, before you guys even get the Bible to read it, it's very important that you guys ask God for guidance on where to read and for Him to minister to your heart through His Word. Now, guys, a very common question that people may have is, who wrote the Bible? Simple answer is that God inspired man to write the Bible. So basically, guys, God said, I speak, you write. Take down all the notes. And that's how it happened. What translation is best for you? The best translation, in my opinion, is New King James Version, because the original King James Version has the thous and shall and stuff like that. And the New King James Version removes that and puts you, and it just makes it a lot more simpler to read. Now, for some people that have sometimes a little bit more trouble understanding, or they're brand new in the faith, a good recommendation is the New Living Translation. It's a lot more simplified and it's very modern. Alright guys, here's a personal tip. Some people often ask, what book should you read when you open up the Bible? In my opinion, you guys should read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and then finally read John. Because when you read John, I feel like there's so much enlightenment in the Bible, in that certain book. And it really reveals to you who and what Jesus is. And it's just, I feel it's more impactful when you read it in that way. A second book I would recommend you reading is Acts, because it goes right after the book of John. You understand what happened with the church. And of course, my favorite book of all to read is Romans. Romans is such an important book because it teaches you how to live your life for God. Alright guys, the next tip is to, yes, read the Old Testament. Why? Because the Old Testament contains all these stories about God's people. It contains history and it ends up leading to Jesus. The Old Testament hides Jesus and the New Testament reveals who Jesus really was. And yes, if you read it carefully, you will see that Jesus really was in the Old Testament also. He was just hidden. Alright guys, the next tip is to read with context. It's very important that you read with context because a lot of divisions happen in church just because people do not read God's Word with the context. And that's why it's so important that you ask God for guidance and you tell Him, help me to understand your Word. Because if you don't, you'll just be reading it with your own understanding. And it's not enough to just read the Bible. You need to ask God for guidance and understanding. To understand and to be able to put this Word into action in your life. Alright guys, last and final step is go at your own pace. This one's very simple. It's very straightforward. Everyone reads at different paces. There's people that could retain more information. At the end of the day, it's go at your own pace and read and study the Bible. Don't just read it. Study the Bible, ask God for that guidance, and He will help you guys out. And guys, as you guys begin to read the Bible more and more, it's important that you guys apply the Bible into your everyday life. It's also important that you guys memorize this Word, because at the end of the day, this is God's Word to His people. This is God's love story to His people. These are God's notes for our lives. Alright guys, see you next time, and remember, God bless you.